Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time, welcome. I'm Bonnie, Old Soul Mermaid, and today is the last video looking at all of my decks in my collection. And this is going to be a look at my miscellaneous mass market decks part 2. So these are all the decks that I couldn't put in Llewellyn, I couldn't put into Rock Pool or US Games. At the end though, I do have a few stragglers that should have been put in, you know, one of those other videos. But because I don't keep my decks stored by publisher, you know, it was kind of hard going from place to place getting all the decks together. So right out of the gate, we're going to go with the first video. I made this cute little kitty cat bag because it stores the Cat Tarot by Megan Lynn Cott. So this is like a miscellaneous, well, it's Chronicle books. So they're not, I don't think, a big publisher of tarot decks. So that's why this is kind of a miscellaneous deck, mass market deck publishing video. So many of you have this. I know this is a great favorite as a novelty for people who like cats. And even if you don't, I'm more of a dog person myself, but I did get this tarot deck kind of as a gag gift for my daughter, who is a major cat lover. Though she's not a tarot person, she is very much a Virgo and very logical, very earthy, and she thinks I'm kind of ridiculous with my tarot, but I can't say that I've used this deck. I liked her so much and I kind of regretted giving it to her. She did appreciate the artwork, but she's just, you know, because I don't know, because her mother is taking an interest in the metaphysical in tarot, and she is totally the other way, logical, science-based. Well, I am too. I believe in science, but you know, she's not a spiritualist at all. She is more, well, nature is her religion. You know, she's studying environmental engineering, and that's where her mindset is, which I totally am all for and I support, of course. But these are the beautiful backs. Fun deck. It's a glossy cardstock, but not super glossy. I think this deck has, you know, a sense of humor. If you are a cat lover, this could easily be used for my dog. My dog is afraid of the vacuum cleaner. I love cats. I enjoy cats, but the fact that they can get everywhere is kind of, you know, I don't want one in my house. I much prefer dogs, even though dogs are more needy. But yeah, humor, it's just cute. If you saw one of my other videos, I think the one I posted yesterday, I have the Indie Tarot Cats deck. So I have 2 cat decks, even though I'm a dog person and I don't have any dog decks. I'm going to have to remedy that, but it's so cute. So that is the Cat Tarot by Megan Lynn Cott. All right, we have the Nightmare Before Christmas deck. Now this deck is artwork is by Abigail Larson. The publisher is this Insight edition. So again, you know, I don't have a lot of decks. I think this is the only deck I have by them. The book was written by Minerva Siegel, and this is a very economical, very nicely produced indie deck. And I do have a full unboxing of this deck on my channel. This deck, and it's got really luxurious cardstock for an indie deck. I love this cardstock. The backs are beautiful. I don't mind the borders. the one complaint that I have is this deck veers towards the Pippish side, and some of the suits are more illustrated than the others. What I my criticism for this deck is it doesn't seem very consistent. Like the wands are very Pippish, the suit of wands, and I think it's kind of a missed opportunity because the majors are so richly illustrated and it's full of personality and the essence of the Nightmare Before Christmas. But you see, you know, there's a lot of characters in that deck, a lot of great scenes, and you see it just kind of goes towards the Pip route. Now, there's nothing wrong with Pips, but I just think it's a missed opportunity with all the characters and the fun scenes, like I said. But I'm keeping this around because this deck is so, it's a nostalgic deck for me. My kids love this film. My husband and I love this film. When we used to live in LA, we took our kids a couple of times to Disneyland, and one of the times in the year would be when they had the Haunted Mansion decorated with the Nightmare Before Christmas decorations. I loved that. My kids loved it, and we'd watch this film, you know, a couple times a year while they were growing up, and I love it. Love the artwork is great, even with the Pips, but like I said, I thought it was a little bit of a missed opportunity. So that is the Nightmare Before Christmas deck with artwork by the wonderful Abigail Larson. Well, I lied when I said I didn't think I had another deck by Chronicle Books, because the Star Spinner Tarot Mass Market deck is by Chronicle Books, and this is a deck by comic book artist Trungles. Beautifully produced, and this is a, you know, very affordable mass market deck with this indie type box, clamshell closure, magnetic closure box. I have a full unboxing of this deck. Now, one of the things that I will say that is a super plus with this deck is that you get extra cards for the lovers, and you can split, you know, switch out, you know, if you're reading for someone or reading for yourself, whichever one resonates with you or the person you're reading for, your querent. So I think that's wonderful for a mass market deck. Beautiful backs. And this cardstock is really nice as well. It's not quite the same as the Nightmare Before Christmas cardstock. A little bit more matte. The other one was veering towards almost like a rose petally waxy finish, just slightly. This is more matte, more papery, but not in a bad way. It's strong, it's got a core in it, and it has beautiful, beautiful illustrations, kind of going Art Nouveau. Has some fairy tales and folklore in this deck. I think it is fantastic. I love the color palette. It's an easy reader. It is so beautiful. I haven't spent as much time with this deck as I would like, because there's another deck in here that I feel it's kind of along the same vein, but I grab for it more for some reason. Now, this also, another deck that I reach for above this one is the Tarot of the Divine. But that being said, I do intend to work with this deck more because I love it. I love the artwork, and I really, really want to spend some time with it and see how it reads for all kinds of readings. So that is the Star Spinner Tarot by Trungles. All right, we have a very well-known deck next. It is the Mystic Mondays Tarot by Grace, is it Duong? I'm sorry if I mispronounce her deck. If you're new to the tarot community, this is a favorite of many, a great mass market deck. It's available on Amazon, at bookstores. It's easily obtainable at a good price point. It is a mass market deck that has some nice silver edging. And these are the gorgeous backs. I love these backs. It is a pretty glossy cardstock. So when you get this deck, you may have to peel some of the cards, you know, from one another. I haven't used this deck for a while, but I did use it when I got it, and it was very early in my tarot journey. And you can see it is a pippish deck, but sometimes not, you know, kind of like the Nightmare Before Christmas. There is some flip-flopping, you know, with pips and then having scenes, you know, illustrated, but it does follow the RWS system. I think you can read with it as a beginner. Especially if you have, you know, you've been working with, you know, maybe one of Pixie's decks for a little bit, and you at least have a foundation. I think, yes, you can easily segue into this deck. Now, it's got a lot of fantasy illustrations. There's no faces on the humanoid figures. A lot of geometric shapes, sharp lines. It's not a deck that would be in my normal aesthetic. I like things more rounded, softer, not so stark, but I veer, you know, once in a while from my normal inclinations, and I'm glad that I do. And I'm still trying to find my total aesthetic. I have a large collection. I'm not going to say large because I know there's people who have so much more than me, and I'm not going to be a tarot collector per se in that I have to have every edition of the RWS or every edition of X deck, but I'm still finding what appeals. I'm trying to navigate. I do like having a well-rounded collection, but going into 2021, I'm going to be maybe trying to look for decks that I don't have. You know, that I would like a collection where whoever or whomever I read for, they can see themselves seen in a particular deck. If I'm reading for so-and-so, okay, I know this deck would resonate. If I'm reading for this situation, I know I can grab this deck and I know it's going to work. All right, so that is the Mystic Mondays Tarot deck by Grace Duong. Next is a deck that took the tarot industry by storm. It is the Fountain Tarot, which was released first as an indie deck, but I have the mass market version. Now, this is well known, but if you are new to tarot, I'm showing this just for you. I don't have an unboxing on my channel because there are many, many unboxings of this deck. And this deck was already well covered in the community by the time I got it. And this is the nice indie box, mass market box, but it's indie quality. This is the little white book that you get with it. And it is a beautiful deck. And look at the backs. They're fantastic. This cardstock, oh, and I have to show you, it's got the silver edging. So it is a great value for a mass market deck, great production quality. This is a very neutral deck to me, and I find that it borders on the masculine, which is good, and why I wanted the deck, because I have so many female-centric decks, even though there is females in here. I feel that it has a very, it has neutral masculine energy, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense. It makes sense to me. And I find that, like, my son resonates with this deck, or the deck resonates with him. This and the Saucer Vito Tarot, I know he likes readings. It's a very young deck. And even though it's very, very modern, but these images you can just lose yourself in. I like the muted imagery in here, and it's almost like you're looking through a fog and kind of trying to unpeel layers in a reading. And I think this deck is fabulous, and I love this Queen of Coins. Isn't she fabulous? So that is the Fountain Tarot, and if you are new to your tarot journey, if this art appeals to you, I can't say enough good things about this deck. It's easily available and accessible, and I think you could have great experiences and readings with it. Moving right along, we have a deck by Liminal 11, the Cosmic Slumbird Tarot by Tilly Walden. Again, available at your bookstores or Amazon. This is like great indie quality deck with this bottom closure. I think they learned from the Modern Witch Tarot, and I'll show you in a second. This is a Sterling Ethos deck published by Sterling Ethos, but it's a Liminal 11 deck. Let's see. There is the box. Comes with a great little guidebook. Now, I want to warn you about something. If you are going to get this deck, it comes with this, do you see that cardboard insert? Well, it is glued in there. And my first deck, I do have a full unboxing of this deck. I tried to pull this out and I ended up ripping the paper underneath. So I sent that back to Amazon and replaced it with another copy. Do not try to rip this out, or be very careful to see if it's glued in. And with both of the copies that I had, this is glued in. So I would say do not try to pull it out. And initially I pulled it out because my Modern Witch Tarot came with this similar setup, but I was able to pull it out. So just a warning, all right? Public service announcement if you get this deck. Beautiful, beautiful card backs. This is a deck that has a similar aesthetic to the Star Spinner Tarot. Yes, that color palette in that deck is a little more muted, but I reach for this one more. There's something about the dreamlike quality in this deck, and I have had wonderful readings. It follows the RWS system. It's standard tarot size. It's glossy cardstock though. It is a glossy cardstock, but it's not the kind that super sticky like the Mystic Mondays deck, where I had to kind of peel those apart when I first got it. This is not like that. Very sturdy cardstock, easy to shuffle, with the overhand. There's a slip to it. I love the images in this deck. I don't know. I can't say anything about Tilly Walden, but I don't know her background or anything about her, but this deck in some ways has a very Asian, and like this has a kind of almost manga feel to it to me. And I've been attracted to Asian decks or an Asian aesthetic as of late. So this is more cartoon, comic book type artwork, illustrations, figures. I just love this Hermit card, which is on the box. So like I said, if you're a beginner, you could easily read with this deck. Easily you could learn on this deck. It's easily available, good price point, and I would highly recommend. And that is the Cosmic Slumber Tarot by Tilly Walden. Next, we have the Modern Witch Tarot by Lisa Sturl. Another Liminal 11 deck, published by Sterling Ethos. Now, you saw in the Cosmic Slumber, I think they learned, because this box, if you just pick it up from the top, you're going to have the bottom come out. So I think that's why they put the trap door on the Cosmic Slumber. I know their next deck, is it the White Newman Tarot, which will come out eventually? I'm interested to see if that's going to have the trap door also, like the Cosmic Slumber. But this is a well-known deck. And see, this also had the cardboard insert, but I was able to pull it out so that the cards and book come out a lot easier in this deck than it does with the Cosmic Slumber. Still has the same hard little white book, but it's, you know, colorful and it's beautiful. Has black and white pictures though. Everybody loves this deck, except for the cardstock, and those are the great backs. I would say the Cosmic Slumber feels a bit thinner to me. It's glossy. It has a white border, the same thin white border. This is, I think in my unboxing of the Cosmic Slumber, I held up both decks together and saw that this one was slightly chunkier. I love the Queen of Cups in this deck. So yes, there's a little bit of difference in the cardstock, but great modern depiction. For some reason, she reminds me of Jennifer Lopez. Just her hair, when Jennifer Lopez wears her hair down, she just reminds me of Jennifer Lopez. I am excited to work with this deck again this year. I did get the Modern Day Witch journal, and I have a walkthrough of that on my channel as well. This competes with my This Might Hurt Tarot by Isabella Rotman. Both are modern depictions of the tarot that follow the RWS system. And, you know, I think that This Might Hurt has a softer color palette, where this one is just bold. This one is, of course, more female-centric, but with diversity in body type. Well, pretty much diversity in body types, but race, which is good. But it's a very young, youthful vibe in this deck. I love both, and I'm glad that I have both. And even though they are kind of similar, I think they are different enough. They have a different enough feel in the readings. I get more confronting readings with this one, I would have to say. Both decks are good for every type of reading, though I would say the This Might Hurt Tarot I use more for self-love and kind of self-care readings, where this one I would say This Might Hurt is more of a hug deck. Even though it's titled This Might Hurt, it's more of a hug deck to me than this one is. I don't know. I think this one has more fire energy in it to me. Let me know in the comments what your experience is between those two decks. And like I said, I do have a side-by-side comparison of these two decks. You know, kind of a do you need both kind of thing. So this is the Modern Witch Tarot by Lisa Sturl. Okay, now we're going to get into some real miscellaneous stuff. This is a little deck that I found at my local half-price books used. It's the Enchanted World of Amy Zerner and Monty Farber. I think it's the, what is their Enchantment Tarot? This is a small version of that, and it does have a book, which I forgot to get. But look, it's a small size. And I think it is so cute. And I just found it in the tarot cabinet for $7.99 with the book and the cards. And this has surprisingly nice cardstock, even though I'm not crazy about the copyright here, but it is, you know, it's fairly small. I haven't used it yet. Haven't had it that long, but I just love the collage work in here, and it makes me think I should get the bigger one. I don't know. I'll play with this and see how it reads for me. And really matte cardstock with this. This is just something I found at my Half Price Books tarot cabinet. Sitting in there, I love this lover's card because it shows dancers, ballet dancers, mermaids, and dancers, particularly ballet dancers. You know, I can't pass up. But great collage work. I think this deck was initially produced in like the 90s, the late 90s. I don't know much about it, but I am digging the images. And if this reads well for me, I may consider getting the bigger version of this deck. So this is called, they're calling it the Enchanted World. I think it's called the Enchantment Tarot by Amy and Monty Farber. Let me know if you have this deck or what the real title is in the comments. All right, another little unique outlier deck. This is known as the Tarot Nova. And it was also in the tarot cabinet of my local Half Price Books, but it was packaged, it was new. They had several new copies. So I think it was maybe, you know, overstock from another bookstore that maybe they obtained. But this was $3.99. Comes with a cute little book, similar packaging to Biddy Tarot's tarot deck. And it has a top lift off here. And it's a cute little pocket deck. Glossy cardstock. But look at these fabulous backs. I don't think this deck is hard to get. It's still in order because really I haven't read with it. Kind of keeping it, you know, as a on-the-go deck, but I haven't been on the go this past year. I was starting to meet people at local bookshops to read for them, to do readings for them, and I got this deck for that purpose, you know, kind of as I like to use several decks in my in-depth readings for people, and using a little deck like this as clarifiers. But, you know, then the events of 2020 happened and I really haven't used it. I keep it in a little tin box because it's so small. But I think this came out, I'm not sure when this came out. Let me see if I can see. I think it is a sweet, sweet little deck. I'm not sure when it was originally published by Running Press. Oh, it looks like 1996, and this might be a 1992 edition. So this is the Tarot Nova. Oops. And the creator is Dennis Fairchild, or the creators, I should say, Dennis Fairchild and Julia Pasquis. Very sweet little deck. Very portable. Now you're going to laugh at me because this I also found at my local Half Price Books tarot cabinet. The fortune telling kit. Is there something familiar about the artwork? Let me know. It is a kit. It is a kit. It has the book with the meanings of the tarot cards, but it also has palm reading cards, and it is in this nice box. So we're going to kind of, actually, these aren't cards. This is a book. It's a little book, a little guide to life's secrets. And it is a little palm reading book. And it's divided in parts. And I haven't really delved into it. But it was so cheap, I couldn't resist. I thought it was so cute, but most of this is packaging. It is mostly packaging. Look at that. What looks familiar about that? Now the cards, a little pocket deck. Move that over there. And these are 2 extra cards. It's a tight fit in this box. So I'm gonna open it up. And what is it? Lo and behold, it's the Tarot Nova. So I have 2 copies of the Tarot Nova. I believe they are the exact same size. Let me see. Let me pull one. No. Okay. The one in the little cardboard box is slightly bigger, as you can see, than the one in the little magnetic opening box that I just showed. This one's a little bit taller and a little bit wider. The one that comes in this box. So won't flip through too many of them, but same cardstock. Let's get in a little bit closer. Same cardstock, same backs. And I'm all over the place with this deck. I have 2 copies of it. I love the packaging. It was super cheap. I think it was like a $7.99 for the whole kit. It has a pretty box. What can I say? It was an impulse buy. Even though I already had the Tarot Nova in the other box, yeah. I know you can point your finger at me. Leave a comment below. Do you think I'm crazy? It was super cheap. That's all I can say. And you know what it was? I love the fact that it came with a palm reading book, because that's something else I'd like to delve into. And I love the color of this tuck box. I just love it. So, yeah, I know. I know. You don't have to tell me, but go ahead. Go ahead. So that is the fortune telling kit with the Tarot Nova and the palm reading book. Okay, now we're going to get into just a few more decks that missed their category or video. This should have been in my Hay House deck collection video that I did a couple of weeks ago, but I had it in another place. It's a newer deck to my collection, so it just, yeah, it missed it. It's the Daily Crystal Inspiration Oracle deck with 52 cards for finding health, wealth, and balance. It's by Heather Askenazi. I'm sorry if I mispronounced the deck, but it's a Hay House, a newer Hay House offering. Now this deck has glossy cardstock, not the nice matte cardstock that they've been using, but it's not super sticky. I love the backs of this deck. Now this deck I got because I'm not totally bonding with the Crystal Spirits by Colette Baron Reed, so I'm hoping, I want a crystal deck. I don't know if this is going to scratch the itch either, but I think I like it more. I think it's more usable, user-friendly than for what I want than the Crystal Spirits, even though I think the Crystal Spirits is beautiful. The faces in that deck kind of freak me out, as I think I mentioned in that video. So this is the Daily Crystal Inspiration deck by Heather Askenazi. This sweet little deck should have gone in my Indie Oracle decks video, but it was on my bookcase and it's so little and dark that I missed it. And it is the Inner Compass Oracle by Heather Hoops. And she is an independent mixed media artist. I've taken many of her soul collage classes that she's had over the years, over the year of 2020. This is a beautiful, beautiful mixed media deck. Collage. She is supremely talented, and I love these backs. These are one of my favorite backs. It's a real teeny, teeny, tiny oracle deck. But you can use, I use this with a lot of my old art decks, which I've done a video of. If you follow her on Instagram, Heather Hopes or Heather Hopes Intuitive Art, you can see just, she's even grown as an artist from this deck, from her work in this deck. I love this deck. I love her work so much. And I think she is working on a major arcana deck. I think she told me that. So I'm going to be looking forward to that. I love this moon. There's a favorite deck or card in this deck. And let me see if I can find it. I'll show you what it is. There's a lot of great color and energy in this deck. This one, the Soulmate card. I just love it. It just gives me all the feels. Yeah. The keywords I find can go with any deck. It kind of reminds me a lot of Kathy Nichols' decks, the story cards and her synchronicity deck. I love this. This one too is a favorite. Both really talented mixed media artists. But I like that this is a pocket deck. This has got really nice cardstock. Really nice. And I think this still may be available on her site. Yeah, Heather Hopes Intuitive Art. Follow her on Instagram. Let's see. Does she have any? Yeah, there's nothing in here with her website, but just, you can see Heather Hopes Intuitive Art. You can find her easily on Instagram, and I love this deck so much. If you like collage and mixed media decks, this is a sweet little deck to get. There you go. And that is the Inner Compass Oracle by Heather Hopes. This little deck in a tin should have been with my US Games deck video. It is the White Sage Tarot. It is a newer acquisition. Again, found at my local half-price books. It was sealed. Oh, and I'm having a hard time opening it. Excuse me. Here we go. So it's US Games Tarot in a tin. And I can't say how the readings would go with this deck because I have not read with it. These are the minimalistic backs, which I dig. This is kind of telling you basic information about chakra energy, and it's a rainbow spread. There is a tiny little white book with it, but I think the images are so sweet and provocative. I believe this was an indie deck originally, and there were some problems with it. Controversy with the deck. But this is my only tarot in a tin. I would like to get some more. just because I like the protection of the tin, and I like the idea of easily portable decks, because someday, I love this hermit. We will be able to go out in the world and do in-person readings again. And that's why I like the idea of tarots in a tin, some smaller decks. Let me know what your experience with this deck is. Do you have the indie version or even this version? Let me know how this is read for you. Like I said, it's newer to my collection and I haven't really worked with it, but I do love the images. I find them very intriguing. It's different from what I normally gravitate towards, but it was a great price and I figured why not. It was sealed, it was new, and it was some insanely affordable price. So that is the White Sage Tarot by Teresa Hutch. Last deck. Now this one should have been in my Low Scarabeo decks. This is a little pocket-sized version of the Harmonious Tarot. Again, something I picked up at Half Price Books. This deck comes in a larger size, but because this was like $3.99 in the tarot cabinet at Half Price Books, I thought, hey, again, going for those portable decks. Now, as you saw, I think I combined, and these backs are beautiful. They're stunning. If you saw, I think I did a combination video of this deck, or my rock pool decks, and my Low Scarabeo decks, because I don't have very many of either. And there's a reason for that. With Low Scarabeo, you know, with their aesthetic, with all the languages, I'm not really a fan of. So that's why I don't have a lot in my collection, but I do love this artwork. And you know, this deck was really cheap, really cheap. I really do like the artwork, and sometimes I've been toying of getting the full-size version, but I don't like this. You know, and it would just be on a larger scale. So, you know, I'm going to hold off for now. And I really haven't read with it. So I think I should read with this. And if I love it and love the readings I get from this, then yeah, maybe. But as it is now, it's going to be one of my portable decks, on-the-go decks that I will always have in my purse, or that I will switch out with other portable decks that I have. Pocket decks. I do like having those in my collection. I do think these backs and the artwork is gorgeous. Yeah, this turns me off, and I don't know if I could get over it enough, especially in the larger edition, though I would get to see and revel in this beautiful artwork. I would like to enjoy it on a larger scale. I wish they wouldn't do this. You know, I really wish they wouldn't. I wish they would redo their older decks and get rid of this. But, you know, it is what it is. So that is the Harmonious Tarot by Low Scarabeo. And that is the last deck in my miscellaneous mass market decks video, and this is at the end of 2020, what I have in my collection. So this is the last video in my deck collection series. So this is the very last video looking into my entire deck collection. If you've stuck with me, thank you. Many thanks. I have some new decks that I've gotten, but I haven't been able to film unboxings of because I've been busy doing this series. And before I put out too many unboxings, I'm going to start showing you my favorites, my favorite decks of 2020, my favorite Oracle decks, my favorite mass market decks, my favorite indie tarot. Yeah, I'm going to do that. So thank you. Thank you. Let me know in the comments if you have any of these decks, if you've worked with them, have any of them come and left your collection? Let me know. I always love to hear from you. And if you are brand new to tarot, let me know if any of these are striking your fancy. So with that, I will leave you and I will bid you goodbye for now. Have a great day.